Hi everyone, Marley here, the chalk paint guy, your local Annie Sloan chalk paint and product stockist. I also stock vintage and retro furniture painted by myself and sustainable giftware handcrafted right here in Northamptonshire. So when you support me, you're not just supporting a local business, you're also supporting lots of local creatives who are probably really struggling at the moment. So it's really good this festive period to consider shops like mine. There are plenty of us around Northamptonshire and do support local business and local creatives. Today I'm here to talk to you about Annie Sloan products. I'm offering free local delivery on anything that fits in my car and also secure online payments, so do bear that in mind. If you're looking for something to do during this lockdown period, you want to get creative, you want to do some home improvements, then do have a look at Annie Sloan products. They're so easy to use, you don't have to prime or sand anything. Anyone can use them, they're really affordable and they are absolutely brilliant in transforming your home. So it gives you an opportunity to get creative and also have a bit of fun while you're doing it. So today I'm going to talk to you about the Annie Sloan products. There's a huge range of products, but I'm just going to talk to you about a few select items. If you've got any questions about any of these items or anything else, just drop me an inbox. I'm always happy to chat. I'm really passionate about it. So I might even talk a little bit too much, you never know. So first off, we'll have a quick look at the colour chart. So there are 42 colours in the Annie Sloan range at the moment, and they are absolutely brilliant. Actually, there are 42 plus a new 2 that came out, so there are 44 colours in the Annie Sloan range. It's actually really handy that Annie has pretty much done the hard work for you, because if you go to B&Q or Homebase, you'll see 100 types of blue and 100 types of orange. She's done the hard work for you in selecting the absolute most brilliant colours and in a way that makes it really easy to mix to get any kind of colour that you might be after. There are loads of videos online you can have a look at to see how to mix these colours, but the idea is that basically the colours on the corners, if you mix them together, you can create the colours in the centres and a whole plethora of colours in between. So do have a look at that as an option if you want to get really creative and really arty. But it's just a stunning range of colours. So let's talk about the paints. As I said, they're really easy to apply. You just apply them with, I like to apply them with a round brush. I'll talk about those in a moment. You don't need to prime or sand. It can go onto ceramics, it can go onto glassware, it can go onto stoneware, it can even go onto fabrics and leather, so do consider it. But the best thing about it is that when you're painting your wooden furniture, you don't need to prime or sand. It's such a time saver. They come in 2 different sizes. You've got a litre and 120 millilitres. If you're working on a project like a chest of drawers or something like that, then I'd always recommend going for a litre tin. 120 millilitres is more a sort of sample pot, but if you're working on something much smaller, perhaps a plant pot or a vase or something like that, smaller projects, then 120 millilitres does go a reasonable distance. So do consider that. 120 ml is $5.95 and a litre tin is $21.95. So by the time you've bought a few of these, you're pretty much on your way to one of these anyway. So I wouldn't recommend buying these the same colour if you've got a larger item to do. Much better value for money to get a litre tin. As I said, they come in 44 different colours, including the new Athenian Black and Oxford Navy, which I use all the time. They're absolutely stunning. So do have a look at the colour range. I will post a link to the colour range in the comment section on this video, so you can take a look at that. But you can also inbox me and we can discuss your requirements. So $21.95 for a litre tin. As I said, to apply it, I recommend a medium round brush These brushes do come in 3 different sizes. You've got small, medium, large. $13.95 for a small, $18.95 for a medium, $28.95 for a large. They are a bit of an investment, but if you're working on a few items, they are a solid investment. They are absolutely brilliant. They're really versatile. They add a lovely texture, but also they last forever. I've been using the same brushes for years. The only time I ever have to open a new brush is if I've got paint on all my other brushes because I'm working on too many projects at once. That's my fault, not the fault of Annie Sloan, because these are really, really brilliant. They're a solid investment. You can take my word on that. Once you have applied the paints, you will want to add a wax on top. I recommend a clear wax if you if you want to keep the kind of look that you created with the paint. If you want to do some aging, some distressing, then maybe consider some of the other options. So waxes come in 4 different shades. You've got clear, white, dark and black. They come in 2 different sizes, and you can get all 4 shades in either of the sizes. So the small ones are $5.95, and the larger ones, which is 500ml, those are $11.95. So by the time you've got 2 of these, you've pretty much got 1 of these. If you are just going to be using the same type of wax, then definitely go for a 500ml tin. 1 tin of this will cover 3 or 4 tins worth of paint. It really does last. It really does go a long way. So do consider that. But if you are looking to get creative, maybe do some aging, maybe use some crackle techniques or some textures. Look at some of the videos I've posted previously on creating a stone effect. Then you might want to get a little tin of dark or black wax just to kind of get creative with. And if you do something and you end up not liking it, then you can use the clear wax to take off a lot of the dark wax, or you can just paint straight over the top and have another go. That's why these products are so good. You don't need to remove it all each time you want to have another go. So yeah, those 2 are available and in both sizes and in 4 different shades. You will need to wax the paint once you have finished painting and it's all dried, because otherwise it might chip and flake across time. So that's what makes it really nice and robust. It saves you having to prime and sand in the first place, but adding the wax is far easier than it would be to sand everything down. You can apply the wax with a cloth or a sponge, but if you're doing a few items, then I recommend getting a waxing brush. This is what they look like in the packet. This is what they look like when they've been used a lot. I use these every single day. They last forever. They're really, really good. The waxing brushes are $24.95. I stock them here. They are a bit of an investment, as I said, but they do last forever. So if you are going to work on a huge project, maybe paint your entire kitchen, or if you're painting a few items, then I definitely would recommend getting a waxing brush. They're amazing, they're really ergonomic, and they're really easy to use. But as I said, if you're just working on a single item, then you might not want to put that investment in. You can still apply the waxes really easily using a sponge or a cloth, but you're not going to get much use out of a sponge or a cloth afterwards once it's full of wax. In terms of washing the brushes, the paint is water-based, so you can wash them with warm water. They wash really, really nicely. I actually wash them in cold water because my artist sink doesn't have a hot water supply, and they wash brilliantly. So don't worry too much about that. They're really easy to wash, but do take care of them, because if you want them to last, you just want to make sure you're washing them out each time you finish with them. Sometimes I find them the next day and I've not washed the paint out and it's dried. I just run some hot water through it and it does all come off brilliantly. So they are really nice and robust, but it's always good to take care of your brushes anyway. You can apply the paints using rollers. I do stock 2 different rollers. A small one is $4.95 and a large one is $5.95. I tend to use the rollers for things like applying stenciling and that sort of stuff. But I also have stencil brushes for that kind of thing. So it just depends on what kind of texture you want to end up with. I prefer to not use a roller, but there is an option. They're obviously a lot less versatile. You can only really do flat surfaces with them. If you are looking to do something a bit more intricate, I definitely recommend a brush. Okay, if you are looking to get really creative and start doing some distressing, then I absolutely love these sanding pads. They're $3.95. You get 3 different grades in there, from a really fine grade to a more coarse grade. If you are going to do some distressing, you can do a range of different types. So you can do it really lightly sanded down, or you can do it a bit more kind of scratchy, as though it's been chipped away for a century. But the brilliant thing about these is that they are washable, so they're much better value than sandpaper, because you can wash them through with warm water once you finish sanding, and they are good to go again. I wouldn't recommend using these to try and sand down wood. They are not really designed for that. They're designed for sanding the paint and for distressing the paint. So if you do go to sand wood with them, then you might find that they don't last quite as long as if you were just using them on the paint. But they are really, really good, really solid investment at $3.95. They're cheaper than most sandpaper you can get anywhere, but you can keep using them. That's the brilliant thing about them. So while we are getting creative, let's talk a little bit about stencils. I stock a range of stencils. I've got more coming in, and I stock them in 2 different sizes. So we've got the A4 and the A3 stencils. The A4 are $2.95, the A3 are $4.95. Brilliant value, really nicely packaged, really easy to use, and because the paint is water-based, you can wash them and you can reuse them. Or if you've got a friend who's also doing something creative, then why not wash the stencil, get a different stencil each, and then swap them over with each other, so you don't have to keep using the same stencil. Stenciling is back in. If you are layering them, you can get a really, really brilliant effect with them. I've got a tutorial on stenciling that I did during last lockdown, so do have a look through my videos, and I'm sure you'll love it. It was really good fun, so do take a look at that. You can apply the stencils, as I said, using a brush or a roller or a little stencil brush. These are also brilliant. They're really nicely designed. They're really easy to use. And again, they are really durable, so they will stand the test of time. Final products I'm going to talk about, well, I say this, but I'm going to talk a little bit more about brushes in a second, is the gilding wax. So gilding wax is amazing. It comes in this little tube, which is kind of like an acrylic paint tube, available in 5 different metallic shades. You've got warm gold, bright silver, dark silver, and copper, and they are so good for adding those little gilded details onto things. I quite often paint handles with them, and they're really good for bringing out the detail if you've got something that's hand carved or something like that. Or you might have seen some of the products I've painted some gold stripes on. Those I've used gilding wax for. It's absolutely brilliant stuff, and it goes really far. I've never ever finished a tube of this stuff, and I've been using it for a long time. It's just because it's just for those fine details, really. You never work your way through it. Gilding wax is $7.95. It's brilliant value for money. It really is very good, and I find it easier than fiddling around with gold leaf. Gold leaf is an option. I do have that here as well, but personally I quite like to use the gilding wax if I'm just doing details, and the gold leaf if I'm doing something a bit more substantial. And the final thing I'll mention is the flat brushes, which I do also stock. Some people prefer to use these. I really don't. I prefer a round brush. I use these normally for things like if I'm adding the glues or the gold size or something like that to a large area, and then I quite like to use a flat brush for that. But aside from that, I like to apply the paint using a round brush. These retail at $5.95 for small, $9.95 for a large. They are an option, they are available, so do get in touch and we'll have a chat about your requirements. And yeah, it's a brilliant way to pass the time, but it's also really good fun. I was really hoping to start doing workshops between now and Christmas, but obviously I'm unable to do that. So I thought I would bring you video updates on what I've been working on, and hopefully you can pick up some of these products. I'll deliver them for free to your door if you're local. If not, then you'll want to check out your local stockist, which you can find at anniesloan.com. But I'm happy to deliver them. I'm happy to have a chat about how to use them if you want a bit more detail. But do check out my tutorials that I've been posting across the last year or so, since I started this new Facebook page, because there's loads of insightful little tips on there. And do check out the Annie Sloan pages. Check out Pinterest. This stuff's everywhere because it's so good. So yeah, if you're looking to get creative during lockdown, I absolutely recommend it, and get in touch so we can discuss your requirements. I can send you an online payment link, nice and secure. You don't have to hand me cash, and then I'll drop them off at your door as well. All right, stay safe, and I look forward to chatting with you.